Okay, picture this. A huge frozen land, totally crushed by a winter that just never ends. That's the world of Midnight. Today, we are diving into Morkin, a solo adventure game that puts you right in the middle of that world. You're all alone with one massive, epic quest ahead of you.
So the whole idea is super simple but really powerful. You're Morkin. You're the hero. You're the one that's supposed to stop this evil Witch King, Doomdark, and his icy reign. But you know, this isn't some story about big armies and huge battles. Nope, this is about you, surviving, alone, against some pretty much impossible odds.
But before you can run off and save the world, you've got to, figure out who your hero actually is. The very first thing you do in Morkin is decide what kind of person you're going to be on this crazy journey. And character creation here is broken down really nicely into two main ideas. First up, you've got your attributes. Think of these as your raw potential, like the engine in a car. Then you've got your skills. These are what you can actually do with that engine. So, for example, your melee skill for fighting, that's tied directly to your strength. But setting up a safe camp for the night, that's going to rely on both your dexterity and your intelligence. Okay, so the next step is all about specialization. After you've got your basic skills sorted, you pick a mastery. So, what's it going to be? Are you a weapon master, ready for a fight right from the get-go? Or maybe a pathfinder, an expert at navigating these frozen wastelands? This one choice gives you a huge bonus and really shapes how you're going to play the game. A medic, for instance, gets bandages right at the start, and trust me, that could literally be the difference between life and death on day one.
All right, characters all set, time to step out into the cold. And let me tell you, survival in Midnight is a daily grind. Every single sunrise brings new problems, new dangers, and that constant nagging threat of starvation.
The game breaks every day down into this simple but totally brutal loop. First, you figure out the weather, which can mess with everything you're trying to do. Then, you get to take an action. You can travel, forage for stuff, or just rest and recover. And then comes the big one. You have to eat. If you can't find food, well, the consequences are pretty severe.
So let's just walk through a turn, shall we? We wake up, roll a 10-sided die for the weather, and oh great, heavy snow. That is not a good start. This immediately slaps a penalty on almost all of our outdoor skill checks, which just makes everything we try to do harder and way more dangerous.
But even with a blizzard raging, we gotta keep moving. So we decide to travel. To get to the next spot on the map, we need to pass an orientation check. Now, with that heavy snow penalty, this is a really risky roll. And if we fail, we could end up right back where we started, or even worse, totally lost, wandering off in some random direction. What a waste of time.
Okay, let's say we actually made it to the next location, but now our food situation is looking grim. For our next action, we're going to try to forage in the woods nearby. And again, this means another skill check. If we succeed, we might find some berries or herbs, just enough to keep us going for one more day.
But what happens when things go wrong? Because in the world of Midnight, they go wrong a lot. A failed roll is almost never just a simple, oh well, nothing happens. This game uses all these random tables to turn your failure into a brand new, unexpected problem.
So let's say we failed that foraging roll. We then have to look at the foraging trouble table, and the results are just brutal. You could get attacked by a swarm of angry bees, stumble into a hunter's trap and take damage, or just search for hours and find absolutely nothing, which just makes you more tired. Every single action has a risk, and it creates this amazing, unpredictable story.
And, trouble doesn't just come from a bad roll or the weather. These wilds are crawling with monsters and servants of Doomdark. Sooner or later, you're going to have to draw your sword.
Let's get back to our little story. Night is falling, and we desperately need to rest. We try a camp skill check to set up a safe shelter for the night, but we fail the roll. Our fumbling around attracts some unwanted attention. All of a sudden, a midnight lion leaps out of the shadows, and just like that, we're in a fight for our life.
So combat in this game revolves around a really simple but clever system, action points, or AP. Every single round, you get 10 AP to spend, and everything you do, from swinging your sword to patching yourself up, has an AP cost. And this is where things get really tactical. You could spend 6 AP on a standard attack, which leaves you 4 AP for something else. Or maybe you spend 5 AP to dodge, trying to avoid that lion's claws completely. Feeling lucky? A desperate attack costs 8 AP and hits harder, but it leaves you wide open for a counterattack. It's this constant puzzle of risk versus reward. Now, every attack is decided with a percentage roll, and I'm telling you, the stakes could not be higher.
Roll really low and you might score a critical hit, maybe even kill your enemy in one shot. But if you roll a 100, that's a fumble. You could trip and lose your turn, or even manage to hit yourself with your own weapon. Every single roll is just pure tension.
But just surviving day to day, fighting off monsters, that's only part of the story. Remember, you're Morkin, and you've got a much bigger job to do. Your real quest is to find and destroy the Ice Crown, which is the source of all of Doomdark's power.
And this huge mission is eventually going to lead you to the single most dangerous place on the entire map, the creepy, ominous Tower of Doom. And inside, guarded by one of Doomdark's top lieutenants, is the crown itself.
But here's the thing. You don't have to face this final challenge completely on your own. The world is actually filled with these powerful characters, and you might be able to convince some of them to help you out. One of these potential allies is Farflame the Dragon Lord, and he knows that only his fire is hot enough to actually shatter that cursed crown.
Finding and recruiting these companions is a whole quest in itself, and each one gives you a really unique and powerful bonus. Coronel the Fae can boost your healing skills, while the Lord of Lotharil makes finding food a piece of cake. But finding Farflame or Farflame is even more important, because they are two of the only ones who can actually destroy the Ice Crown after you get it.
So, at the end of the day, Morkin is really a story generator. It's a system for creating your own epic saga of survival and heroism, and maybe even despair. Are you going to be a sneaky scout who avoids fights no matter what? A powerful warrior who gets mighty lords to join your cause? Or are you going to freeze to death alone in the snow with your quest left unfinished? Well, the dice and the choices you make are going to decide.